Today we are going to do something a little different. This is something I have never done before, and it's a little bit matrixy. Because today in this video, what I want to do is offer you a memory that you can choose to select and insert into your consciousness in order to produce the result. And the result is a greater sense of love and safety in yourself and in all of your relationships. So choosing a new memory is just the same as choosing a new future event that you'd like to experience. We're doing all of this in imagination, and whatever you're doing in imagination is what must get pushed out and reflected back in your reality, because that is how this game works. So that is what we are doing today. My name is Hedley, and if you have found this channel, you are in the right place. If you'd like to know more about me or my offerings, including Law of Assumption coaching, where we will look at any of the stories that you have running in your reality and we will work through those together. I also have a wonderful self-concept course, I Am the One, and I have my book, I Am Money, which will completely transform your relationship with money and the experience you have of it in your reality. You'll find all of those details in the box below this video or at my website, youaretheone.com.au. But for now, let's get into it. Oh, and just before we do, if you could please do one very simple thing, and that is to press the subscribe button now. Thank you so much. As I said in the intro, today we are going to do something that I have never done before, so I'm a little bit excited about it. Today, what I want to do is offer you a memory from your past, which, if you choose to select this memory and make it your own, you must, by the law of assumption, experience a result that matches the state of consciousness of that memory in your reality now. Because memory and future imaginings are just the same thing. They are concepts of consciousness which we play out in imagination and we give our attention to. What you are doing in consciousness and the little mini movies that you're giving your attention to in your consciousness are what must be produced in your reality, because consciousness is the one and only reality. And reality that we experience with our five senses is the reflection of consciousness. So if you are new to these teachings, I'll just say this again, because this principle is the foundational principle of pretty much all of this work. And that is, consciousness is the one and only reality. And reality that you are experiencing with your five senses is the reflection of that. Now, I actually just want to say this another way, because I'm reading a book at the moment called The Cosmic Hologram. I'll show it up. It's called The Cosmic Hologram, Information at the Center of Creation by Jude Currivan, who's a PhD. She's a cosmologist and a whole host of other things. She's an incredible woman. And I was listening to a podcast by her, which is why I bought the book. Essentially, she's coming from the scientific background, and she is backing up pretty much everything Neville is saying without meaning to, and from a very scientific background. So I just want to read a quote from the book, from her book, which really backs up this principle that consciousness is the one and only reality. And she says here, and this is all based on her scientific research, there is literally no environment apart from the consciousness of the observer. So I'm going to read that again. There is literally no environment apart from the consciousness of the observer. And that is coming from a scientist who is very much based in the research and the evidence and being able to prove something. So when we say consciousness is the one and only reality, what we're also saying is there is no environment. There is nothing out there other than what we are projecting onto this cosmic hologram, which also science is proving that reality is nothing more than a cosmic holographic experience, and we're each having our own very independent experience based on the quality and the nature of our own consciousness. The reason why that is so important is because when it comes to memories of the past, many of us are just operating on one memory, and that is the memory of what happened, the actual event that we experienced with our five senses. However, that event is long gone. That event only exists in consciousness, and as we now know, consciousness is the cause of what we are experiencing in our reality. Memory, as science has also proven, changes over time. Memory isn't fixed, just like a future event isn't fixed. And the reason that some of our memories are so strong is because they're fixed in consciousness based on the sensory information that we gathered from that event. So an event happens, we experience it with our five senses, and that memory then forms in consciousness, and we maintain it by remembering it. Now, that memory is associated with a state of consciousness, meaning a way we feel about it. It's like an energy. Each memory has its own, kind of like a barcode, an energy blueprint to it. And as long as we are holding on to that memory, that blueprint must get pushed out and reflected back. So memory is just a state of consciousness. And like anything, if you take any of your future imaginings, there are infinite number of potentials to every event. So this moment here is considered the eternal now. It's all there is. That's why we work in I am, because I am is present and now. It's all happening now. Everything is an expression of I am, even your past memories. So one of the reasons why I wanted to do this video is because I wanted to offer you a memory that you can choose to select and insert into your consciousness that will produce a state of consciousness of love and safety. Because so many of us grew up with memories of the past that were either traumatic, they were unfavorable, they were unpreferable, whatever the case may be. And of course, yes, we have good memories too. But so often when we're doing this work, we tend to look to the stories that have caused some of the events in reality that are happening that we don't necessarily want to be happening. And we start to activate these memories that were unfavorable, that were unpleasant, and we remember them. And every time we remember them, we embed them a little bit further. But a memory is just one potential in an infinite field of potential relating to that particular event. And because the memory is in consciousness, we have dominion over it. So this falls under the category of revision. And one of the reasons why I love revision so much is because when you revise a memory, an unfavorable memory, that new memory that you have chosen or selected in consciousness must get pushed out and reflected back in your reality now. Not in the same event, of course, but in the quality of event that matches up with the quality of consciousness associated with the new memory. So it's a wonderful tool to have at your disposal. And the reason that I wanted to give you this memory, at least give you the opportunity to select this memory, is because this is a very common memory that many of us have. And this actually came up in a client session where my client was sharing this memory with me and how it left her with a feeling of unsafety and this feeling of absolute terror. And I actually had the same memory. So as we were revising the memory in consciousness, I thought to myself, oh, I'm going to do this after the session. I'm actually going to redo this for myself as well. And then I thought, this is actually such a common memory. I think so many people probably have this and could benefit from a revised version of this memory, which will produce a greater sense of love and safety within themselves. So I'll get into what the memory is, and I'll tell it from my perspective because this was my memory. And that is when I was a little girl, I remember walking out of a theatre. So we were in a crowded place and I was with my mum, and I was holding hands with my mum. I must have been like 5 or 6. I was really young. And I was holding hands with my mum, and I remember looking up, and the woman that I looked at was not my mum. So I was holding hands with a stranger, and I remember screaming I was terrified. I was suddenly overcome with so much fear. I turned around looking, but my mum was just right behind me. I was safe. She saw me. But for me, that memory of holding on to this hand and then looking up and seeing a stranger there was so terrifying. And it's such a common memory. So this new memory is based on the revision of that, but I've actually taken it a little bit further. If you're listening to this and this doesn't feel right for you and it doesn't feel like it's something that you need or want, please do not select it. You do not have to select this memory. You can just listen, or you could even just turn the video off now. You are the infinite I am of your reality. You get to choose what you accept into your awareness and what you don't. But just know that this is coming from a place of love. It is coming from a place of wanting you to feel more love and safety within yourself and to see more love and safety reflected back in your reality. So there is no harm in selecting this memory. However, you have agency over your consciousness and awareness, so I will leave it up to your discretion as to whether or not you accept this memory into your consciousness. So if you are choosing to select this memory for yourself, you can either do it as I'm speaking and you can perhaps close your eyes, or you can just listen because we're still imagining with our eyes open, or you can just listen and then play this out for yourself at a later time after the video has finished. So the new memory is you are a small child and you are holding hands with your caregiver. We are going to start with your mother. So this is the higher version of your mother, and you're walking hand in hand with your mother. I also want you to activate your senses as we are going through this. And you can feel her hand wrapped in yours. Now, what you're going to do when you're ready is, as you're walking along, you're going to look up. And as you look up, you're going to see the smiling face of your mother looking down at you. And you can look up, you see your mum. It is your mum. She's smiling. You can feel her hand. She's got you. Everything is okay. The second part is your other hand. Now, with your other hand, you're also holding on to somebody, and this person is your father. This is the higher version of your father. And as you look up, you can actually see your father, and you see his face looking down at you, smiling. So now you can look up and see your mother on one side, and you can see your father on the other side, and they are both looking down at you. They're smiling, and you can feel that your hands are in theirs. Now, the third part of this memory is you're walking along holding hands with both your parents, and your parents start swinging you up and down. And this is so much fun. You're like, more, and they're swinging you more, and they just keep swinging you. And you're just having this wonderful time with your parents. Now, the reason that this is such a powerful memory is because, one, it takes into account both of your parents, and in particular the higher version of your parents, but also it's about you, not them. Because both your parents, you're holding on to their hands and they are looking down at you, the focus is on you. It doesn't matter what the nature of their relationship is, because their love and attention is on you. And because you're holding on to their hands and you're walking in the middle of them within a crowded area, there is a sense of safety that comes from this memory. When you are held within a safe and loving container, that sense of safety and love, because it's happening now and we're selecting it now, must be projected out and reflected back. Now, we are not in control of reality. We have no idea how that gets reflected back. But you can be sure that whatever you're doing in consciousness is forming the experiences in your reality. Remember how we started this video. Consciousness is the one and only reality. And reality is the reflection of consciousness. It's the same as Dr. Caravan and what she said in her book. There is literally no environment other than the consciousness of the observer. So if you choose to select this memory for yourself, and I hope you do, this memory will set up the assumptions that you are safe, you are loved, you are held within this container of love and safety, and you have the attention of both of your parents. And that is incredibly important, especially if you grew up in an environment where you did not have the attention of your parents, or you had the attention of one but perhaps not the other. What this does, it sets all of that up in this one little memory, and you can play it out in 30 seconds. And I would just suggest, if this speaks to you, if this calls to you, I would invite you to, first of all, make this memory your own, and then continue to remember it a few times over and over, just so you can embed that memory. And then just be curious as to how your reality might reflect back this state of consciousness of love and safety, and just how it makes you feel. It's a memory that I've selected for myself, and I've continued to play it out just because it feels good. There's a lot of goodness in that one scene. So I would invite you to play with that one, see if it resonates with you, and if it does, really get into the sensory experience of that memory, and then you're done. You've selected it, leave it at that, move on with your life. So enjoy that. Enjoy experiencing a greater sense of love and safety, even if it's just within yourself. Sometimes that's just enough. I'm going to put a video up here from the archives, which is reality is not fixed. So that just goes into reminding you that this reality isn't fixed. It's up for change, but we make that change in consciousness. And some of those changes are with the memories we experience from our upbringing. So I'll leave it there. Have a wonderful week, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.